Well, Chris, I think you heard a different message than I did, and I was watching it live as well. Kamala Harris made it clear that she was talking about engineering and bringing jobs, bringing American jobs back, ensuring that our engineering structure, which helped to build the middle class, which helped to build the workforce across this country, made in America, making that a real claim again, and ensuring that those individuals can be tooled, can be skilled to get those jobs. And those jobs historically and present day don't require a college degree. But she also talked about eliminating some of the degree requirements for federal jobs as well, which we've seen happen in government across multiple states, Democrat and Republican led states, over the past few months. That's part of her opportunity economy agenda. And I do think that there's something to be said about Americans, Gen Z particularly, moving away from college education and wanting to go straight into the workforce. This provides a level of opportunity for individuals who are not going to be saddled with student loan debt. That is a net positive for our country. I think that towards the second point of the question, her campaign has done a very good job of getting information out, of showcasing what a Kamala Harris administration could look like. But for Barack Obama, this isn't a new thing. He has a habit of coming along towards the end of campaign cycles to endorse and support candidates on the campaign trail. Because this is a more truncated campaign, he's doing it a little earlier than he did in 2020 when he came out for Joe Biden. He's doing it a little earlier than he did in 2016 for Hillary Clinton. But him coming out on the campaign trail with the star power he has, he's the biggest star of the Democratic Party and has been since he ran in 2008. I think that it's going to make a difference.
Brian Lanza, do you like the play that Trump is doing here? He's in the right place, but is he saying the right thing? You can disagree with me if you want, but you'll be wrong. Money was not given to migrants that was supposed to go for relief. There is not $1 billion missing, okay? Those are facts, so let's just stipulate to those. But the messaging, going there saying, hey, I know you're hurting, the federal government screwed up, why is that a good message?
Well, because it's true. I think people felt behind over there in North Carolina and Georgia. I mean, if you look at what first happened with respect to the hurricane, you know, Joe Biden was on the beach, hanging out, getting sun. Kamala Harris was in San Francisco and Los Angeles raising money. And so it's President Trump who went there and sort of recognized that these people were feeling left behind. They were feeling ignored by the Democratic administration. And so he went in there and highlighted the issue. And he highlighted the fact that people are being left behind, and that's a problem. And Joe Biden has clearly took 7 days to get there. That's even longer than George W. Bush did in Katrina. This is Joe Biden and Kamala Harris's Katrina, and they failed to meet the natural disaster test, and people are left behind. And whether we want to talk about shortages, what we do know is that FEMA is requesting more money because there are shortages because it's been spent on other factors. So they didn't clearly put the priorities of hurricanes ahead of everybody else.
Mayorkas said, and it's a distinction with a difference. Look, I'm not here to argue for the left. I'm just here to argue what we know. Mayorkas did not say that. He said we have enough money now, but the season isn't over yet, and they're going to have to think about allocating more money. So, come on, Brian. But, Rena.
No, Chris, you just made my point. They're running out of money.
No, you made it sound like they don't have enough for Helene, and that's not what Mayorkas took the time to come out to say. That's not the case. I'm just saying the truth is enough. The truth is enough. That's all I'm saying. So, Rena, the question becomes for you. I get that he's in the right place, okay? Presence matters in politics, no question about it. I mean, it's not like he's down there like Representative Luna was, walking around with people and actually help, but that's fine. He's right that he's on the spot. But the message, FEMA stole money, FEMA gave it to the illegals, is that what makes a conservative proud these days?
Let me just say this. These times are obviously unconventional, but because this is an ahistorical run that Harris and Walz are trying to pull off here, it makes it tougher for the truth to stick out. And that's where Trump gets his opening. So I'm not calling what happened, unfortunately, up and down the mid-Atlantic seaboard, Asheville down to Treasure Island, Florida, devastation for our fellow Americans, right? It's not the October surprise. It's the October window that I was looking for Trump to get at some point. And this is where Trump, unfortunately or fortunately, succeeds. In moments of crisis, he shows up. It was this time, October 2017, when he as president showed up in Puerto Rico, which I was aghast to see the images of him tossing paper towels at people as if they were just peasants. My gosh, it was bizarre. But hey, it was a situation where, just like the year prior, he showed up, and that's where he thinks he succeeds. And so right now, what the American right is doing is really nailing Harris Walz, and I think unfairly, by saying that the $750 she talked about per person or per family, please fact check me on that one,
Yeah.
They are taking issue with that because they feel like that's a minuscule amount compared to the $2 billion our federal government just ports over to Ukraine.
Hey, thanks for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your screen. And don't forget, click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.